Day number 33 of the national emergency. Are you still out there? You know who I miss today? The kids. April 15th, when I bore the children to no end, talking about taxes, what they should do to prepare, what they should do to get their taxes done early next time, the eye rolling. Eye rolling plays really big in my life. When I start talking to folks, definitely get the eye roll. These people are bored these days. There he is. It's not the same as a real personal eye roll. This show, up until tonight, has not had a banjo on it. But Brian Lindsay is going to cure us of that. Wow, that was amazing for our very first banjo. That was really awesome. And also, I've gotten some notes where we're being watched in Sao Paulo, Brazil, Columbus, Ohio, Anchorage, Alaska. We've got Evanston, Illinois, Chicago, all over the place. And now I'm bringing in our very first banjo. There he is, ladies and gentlemen.
Awesome.
Brian
Well,
Lindsay.
thanks for having me, Scott. I'm so
Oh,
glad we could
please.
finally get a banjo on the show.
Yeah. I know there was a
It's about
small
time.
there was a small contingency over the last 4 weeks saying, "Where's the banjo?"
I imagine that's what was on most people's mind.
Yeah, I don't see why it wouldn't, and it's definitely heart lifting. So that was really wonderful. What was the name of that first tune?
That's a really awesome tune that I actually just learned this past week. It's been on my radar for a while, but I finally went and learned it. It's called Dorigo,
Ooh,
um, and it was written by a really wonderful fiddle and banjo player based out of Nashville, named George Jackson.
cool.
Um,
And speaking about locations, the last time we spoke to you, you were out on Long Island, and now you're
I
someplace
was.
else. Where are you now?
Now I am back. So before I was on Long Island at my parents' house where I grew up, because I was traveling through there on tour, and now I'm back in my other home in Ording, Washington, about an hour south of Seattle.
Oh, great. And where are you living?
Uh, I live on a small farm so Ording is a fairly rural town in the Puyallup River Valley. There's a lot of agricultural land around here, and Um, this is a small farm. It's called Bright Eyed Acres. And on the farm here, we raise sheep and pigs and poultry, all on 28 acres of pasture.
Wow. That's amazing. And then tell us about this next piece that we're going to watch, because you mentioned poultry, and I listened to this song a couple times this afternoon as I was loading it into the system. It definitely has a little poultry theme going on.
A little bit, yeah. This is a silly, kind of a silly song, but it's a lot of fun. About chicken. We raised chicken here on the farm, and the two farmers, Andrew and Misha, who are my housemates, they have a 2-year-old daughter named Hattie Lou, who's I think watching right now in the other room.
Awesome.
And I sing a lot of songs with her, and this is a song that we've been singing a lot this past week, so it was on my mind, and I thought it'd be fun to share with everybody. So
Oh, great.
it's an old song. It's got little bits and pieces of other folk songs mixed in, and I don't know. I don't know exactly where it comes from. I don't think anybody really knows exactly where it comes from, but it's a good time.
And what's the name of that song?
Crow Black Chicken.
There we go.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to roll it, and before we do, I just want to say a how do you do to Hattie Lou. Here we go.
Chicken crow for midnight, chicken crow for day. Along came an owl with a hoot and a scowl, and it stole my chicken away. Crow black chicken, crow for day. Crow black chicken, fly away. Crow black chicken, crow for day. I like chicken pie. Hardest work I ever done was plow a field of rye, and the easiest work I ever done was eating chicken pie. Crow black chicken, crow for day. Crow black chicken, fly away. Crow black chicken, crow for day. I like chicken pie. Chicken crow for midnight, chicken crow for day. Along came a Ford with a honk and a swerve, and it knocked my chicken away. Crow black chicken, crow for day. Crow black chicken, fly away. Crow black chicken, crow for day. I like chicken pie. I wish I had a big frame house, 15 stories high, and every story in that house was filled with chicken pie. Crow black chicken, crow for day. Crow black chicken, fly away. Crow black chicken, crow for day. I like chicken pie. I wish I had a silver thread as fine as I could sew. I'd sew a chicken to my back and drive to Idaho. Crow black chicken, crow for day. Crow black chicken, fly away. Crow black chicken, crow for day. I like chicken, I like chicken. Crow black chicken, crow for day. Crow black chicken, fly away. Crow black chicken, crow for day. I like chicken pie.
Amazing. Beautiful song. Beautiful
Thank you.
song. And so are you playing a lot on the farm there?
I mean, I'm playing here at home. I teach fiddle lessons over Skype occasionally, and I do small recording projects sort of remotely. So my two main bands are a band called Countercurrent, which is myself and Alex Sturbaum, and then another band with my partner Panka Jane, and that band's called Deer Crow. And we're all working on sort of, Alex has recording stuff at home, so the two of us are doing some recording and sharing things back and forth, and I don't know, we're doing what we can to make
Yeah,
music
amazing.
together.
And you mentioned an album perhaps in the near future?
Yes. So there are two exciting albums to think about. One is I'm going to be making an album with Deer Crow in the next couple months.
Okay.
So you can find that band like on Facebook and stuff and on my website. and that'll be coming out soon. And my bandmate Alex in Countercurrent is about to start recording a solo album. So it's his second solo album, and he's got 1 week left in the Kickstarter. He's already funded his Kickstarter, but he's got some stretch goals. So if you check out the Countercurrent stuff, you could hop on that Kickstarter and
Absolutely,
get on the train. It's an album pre-order. It's really cool music. I'm going to be going into the studio to track on some stuff for that album too. So
cool. All right, lots of exciting stuff, Brian. Thank you for the banjo. We'll be coming back to you soon for some more music.
Awesome. Thanks for keeping everybody's spirits up and sharing some music and humor and art, and it's all good stuff, Scott. So
yeah, well,
keep it up.
Thank you, Brian.
Stay
I will.
Safe.
Absolutely. You too. Stay safe. Be well, and we'll talk soon. All right. Thanks, Brian.
Take care.
How are you today, Tim?
I'm good. How are you?
Fantastic. When did your interest in cooking begin?
Well, my mother was Chinese, and food is very important for Chinese people, not just the Italians or the Jewish. The Chinese people love food. Food was very important in my family, and my mother cooked really well. She fed me really well, and she always insisted that I eat more, no matter how full I was, right? Until one day she said to me, "Oh, you're getting fat." And I'm like, "Oh, and whose fault is that?"
Right.
So, food is, and it's a pleasure, It's, I love comfort food, especially.
You're mostly known for your bolognese de papa, and your feijoada, which I'm hoping we can catch you in action on those two at some point.
Definitely.
But this bread,
Yeah.
did you choose the bread?
Well, I've been wanting to bake bread for a long time, but just no time. And now we're trying to cope with the social distancing, and all of a sudden I find myself with a lot of time in my hand. And there's a friend of mine and a colleague, Vero Albin. She's in Houston, and they have this group in Facebook called Foodie Translators, and it's a bunch of translators who love to cook and eat. And her husband, Vero's husband, Jorge, she's always posting the breads that he makes, and I'm always like, oh, I want to do that. So I recently asked her for some advice, and she gave it to me, and I found this recipe. Actually, Pauline Ceramides mentioned it, and Teresa mentioned it, which is a very easy recipe. It's from the New York Times, and so I said, I'm gonna try it, and I did.
Yeah, and you home run right out of the gate. Like I'll tell you that. We're gonna roll this video, but also for those of you who don't know, Tim is a translator, and because of that, the nature of his job, he's traveling constantly, all around the world, constantly, and so always finding himself in fascinating places and then seeking out fascinating things to eat. Yeah.
And trying out bread from all over the place.
Yeah. Right. So here, let's roll this, and then we'll come back and talk about it for a minute. This is
all right.
Tim in the kitchen. Home run. That was a beautiful looking
Yeah,
loaf.
beginner's luck. And it's all gone. We ate it all already.
Yeah. Well, I should hope so. So what's next? Like what do you chart things out? Do you think I want to do this and I want to do that?
Yeah, my next step is I'm gonna breed bread starter, and I say breed on purpose because it's complicated. It turns out you have to feed it, you know, periodically, otherwise it dies.
Ooh. Wow.
So I'm gonna do a bread started, whole wheat bread started. I finally found some whole wheat flour in the supermarket.
Ah, right.
We've had a lot of shortages
Yeah.
here in New York,
Yeah.
but I found some, and that's my next step. I'm doing a starter, and I'm gonna try whole wheat.
Fantastic. All right. Well, we will be tuned in for that. But really,
Right.
the feijoada and the
Feijoada.
bolognese de papa.
All right.
Okay. All right, you guys.
Bolognese. I learned it from a friend in college.
Ah,
He showed me how to do it, and I did it for a long time. And for like 10 years, I was a one-trick pony. Bolognese. That's
I
all I
see.
knew how to cook.
I see. You are all bolognese all the time.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, you've definitely expanded. Absolutely. Yeah.
Thanks for keeping our spirits up, Scott.
Well, thank
It's
you,
great
Tim.
what you do, and it's
Oh.
really funny the stuff you do.
Thank you. Thanks, man. I really appreciate it. And thank you for all the food.
Ooh.
Yeah. All right, Tim.
I
We will
hope
be in touch.
one day soon we'll be able to eat together.
Yeah, I know. I'm waiting for that time. Yeah.
Uh,
All right. Thank you.
Big
Tim.
hug.
Big hug. Thank you. Love you, Tim.
Love you too.
All right. Talk soon.
Bye.
Live from Atlanta. Nice hat.
Well, I wanted to bring a little bit of swag into the event here. So
We didn't have any banjos and we didn't have any swag in this show.
Well,
That's what I say. So, you had a clown meeting on Skype. Just show. Okay. So, we've all been doing the Skype. We've all been doing the Zoom. This is you, and you're in the top row,
Yeah.
second.
I'm up there with
Yeah.
That was it was last week. We had a clown meeting of medical clowns who do hospital visits, and there was after all of the virus stuff, there was a Facebook page that kind of popped up of clowns really from all over the world who do this work, and we were kind of there sharing ideas and videos and stuff. And so one of the guys was like, "Hey, why don't we get together and like have a clown meeting?" Which was cool. And I knew some of these folks from previous meetings and all, but many of them I hadn't met. And so we all get together and we have what you see there is like 20 clowns
Yeah.
all together.
Yeah.
And the blog post I wrote was essentially about a little mini incident where one clown played a song, and I was like, "Oh, that's cool." And I pulled out my uke and I play a song, and then I was like, there was like 20 of us. So I was like, I don't want to play too long because there's a bunch of us here. So I do like one little verse, and then I stop and I put my instrument down and I look up. And like all the clowns are like still dancing. They're still like grooving to the stuff I was doing. And I was like, man, I should have kept going. And so as I was writing my blog post, the idea of keep dancing even when the music's not playing kind of came up, which is in some ways kind of symbolic of what we're doing now, what you're doing. We're all trying to keep our thing going as artists. Because our art. One of the things I like about clowning and performing live in general is we're in the same room, we're breathing the same air, we're doing the same thing, and with the health stuff, that's just not possible right now. So that's a little bit of the bummer, but like I like the idea of keeping things going because as artists we want to keep that thriving thing going on. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And what are you doing? What shape has the outreach taken now?
Well, a lot of Skyping, a lot of Zooming, similar
With
to like I was
patients?
saying. We're starting to do that here in Atlanta. I did a little pilot version of that a week or two ago, where we would basically let the patients in the hospital know that, hey, the clowns are available in this little block of time, and then the patients and their parents kind of like zoom in, and the parents zoom in, and we get to see and play and do stuff. It's a slightly different model because in our normal way that I've been doing it for 20 years, we go into the hospital and we kind of go almost everywhere in the hospital with a certain schedule, and so we often we see them when they're not necessarily expecting us, and then we get to interact with them and in many ways surprise them in the best possible way. This model is a little different in that we make ourselves available, and then they kind of say, hey, we would like the clowns to come by at a certain time, and then that'll happen. And we're just starting to do that. I mean, we've been doing some pilot stuff, but it's not a full swing yet, but it's definitely in the works.
How many patients would you have encountered, back in the day?
It varies, depending on how many patients are there, but sometimes 60, 50, depending
Holy
on.
cow.
Yeah, and partly because we're kind of like on our feet for the whole day, morning and then afternoon. So we get to see a lot of folks. So that was like the first meeting, and then the second one that I mentioned before was the Clowns Without Borders, which was my second clown meeting for that day, and which was kind of like, come on, how many clown meetings can a guy take? But in that one, yeah, I know. In that one, one of the clowns, they were talking about one of the tours that they had planned had just decided wisely that they couldn't do it for all of the reasons that all of us have stopped. And one of the clowns brought up something that really kind of pointed out to me was like, what's essential? Because a lot of what we hear now is like, what's essential in terms of, restaurants and food and medical stuff, obviously. But in terms of the work that we do, it's like we all live for the things that kind of brighten our lives, and we can sustain ourselves with food and shelter, but ultimately it's the other stuff, the things that really help us to thrive, that really get us going throughout the day. So
the stories and the culture and the trading of emotion.
Exactly. Right. Banjo playing and people, cooking fancy food, I mean, those are all the things that help us thrive,
And sharing food. Food is such a different thing now.
And the communal thing,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like
which
Tim
we're all missing.
all our families getting together. I mean, our families, we have, birthdays and, everything. And we're always surrounded by food.
Yeah. Food's it's a big marker.
Yeah. So, all right. So we have this another one of your beautiful Squeeze the Clown video. So let me roll that. Squeeze this hat. Yo, it's a night about hats. It's a night about banjos, bread, and hats. All right, here we are. Squeeze, rolling. Bravo. Brava. When did you first become a clown? When did you start that training?
Well, officially, I first started doing clowning for real clowning 20 years ago. Actually, we're celebrating our 20th anniversary, ironically, this year.
Wow, so you were 3 years old? You were 3 when that happened? Wow, interesting.
Not quite 3. It was but 20 years. We originally started as a branch of the Big Apple Circus, which was a circus and still is a circus, a different version of that circus in New York 20 years ago. And I started doing the clowning. Obviously, I was a performer, then had done some acting stuff with you and other people many years before that. But the clowning, the hospital clowning specifically, really gave an opportunity to use our performing skills. I mean, I'd been juggling and playing music, long before, but it kind of gave me a place to do that, but also a place to serve the community, because as a performer in this environment, in hospital work, as well as with Clowns Without Borders, it's not about us performing as much as it is providing a service to kind of like help people and to, in the medical situation, help them with laughter, or maybe with the medical thing, or with Clowns Without Borders, literally going into places where people need laughter because they are either refugees or they've had really some strife in their lives. And so it's to kind of use performing as a way to brighten people's day beyond merely look at me, how good I am. It's like, let's have these cool moments together, which is about.
Yeah, and so if there are any performers out there who are looking to kind of merge into this, I'm going to post both of those links with your link as well. So people who are interested, the world could definitely use some more clowns. Not so much, we don't need the clown. All the clowns seem to be going into politics lately.
It's a beautiful thing when it's done right.
Yes, absolutely.
When it's done poorly, it's like, I'm sorry.
You're doing it amazingly right. All right, Meredith. Well, thank you again for taking even more time spent with us.
And I've said this to you before, but thank you for what you're doing to kind of like bring people together, to share, and to have all of these different people sharing their arts and their skills in these really weird times. So my heart is with you and the other folks in New York, because I know you've been going through some tough times. And so thanks for what you do as well.
Thank you, Meredith.
Cool.
I love you, man.
Love you too.
All right. We'll talk again soon. Be safe.
Yes.
All right.
Be safe.
All right. That's Wednesday. For now, stay safe, hunker, hug, haven. I love you guys. See you on Friday.